You ready, bro? So this is like the Oprah. What do you think? Is this like... What do you think?
This is a fancy setup.
This is pretty fucking...
Are you wearing headphones?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear headphones.
That's weird though, because it's on video, but yet you're wearing headphones.
I still don't know what I'm doing,
It
so...
feels uncomfortable as a choice.
I know, but I want to hear your
Because you
voice.
want to use the video at some point, but then you wear headphones and then...
So what do we do? Yo, over there.
You're
Boom,
directing
right
as we
there.
go.
Sorry.
That was aggressive too. Yeah. So like if I wasn't here, it would get really aggressive. That's what I picked up.
So the first time I met you was when you opened for my dad at my dad's fish restaurant.
Yes, Sammy's by the Shore.
Yeah, Sammy by the Shore.
Yeah, I used to book Sammy's by the Shore.
And what year was that?
So around like 87, maybe, 86, 87, I met your dad. I was a young comedian. I just started in 85, so I wasn't very good. And your dad asked me to book his club, and in return for booking his club, I could go on stage. I could MC, he'd give me a spot. Maybe he paid me $100 a week to book his club, which is like in this empty room in the back of Casola's Fish House in Marina Del Rey. But because it was your dad, great comics came in, and that's how I got a lot of my first stage time was working with your dad. Like it just opened up, like the city doors were opened up for comedy by being in the back of this fish house.
So when people think of you and they hear about your name, they think of you as a big producer and a director. They don't think of you as a stand-up. I know that I've recently seen you a lot at the Comedy Store. Yeah. And you said when I saw you backstage at the main room, you said you never really gone on in this stage.
You know, I did stand-up from like 85 to 92 seriously, where that was the main thing I was doing. And then the Ben Stiller show got picked up and I was the head writer and producer of it. And I just didn't have time to do stand-up. And you know, everyone was so much better than me that I was a little depressed because I was living with Sandler and I would open up on the road for Jim Carrey, and these guys were all pretty innovative and riotous, and I hadn't figured out what my thing was. So I would do pretty well and get on all the talk shows, but I knew I wasn't as good as them, and I hated it. But I was young and I had no life experience. I didn't really have much to say. You know, there was just a feeling that, like, if you were opening up, if you were a band, and every night you had to open up for Guns N' Roses. So when writing started happening for me, I realized, oh, so the world is telling me this is where you should be. But you know, years later, I realized, oh, well, you slowly find yourself. And I felt like, oh, I'm doing stand-up now. I know it's not that exciting to see me. I'm not that famous. This is my level of fame. If I'm walking down the street and somebody says, are you Judd Apatow? If I say no, they go, all right. You know, I have a book which is just this. It's a book called Sick in the Head, and it's all the interviews I've done with comedians since I was 15. Wow. Because when I was a kid and I wanted to be a comedian. Yeah,
you were doing your own radio show.
I would do a high school radio show where I interviewed Seinfeld in like 1983. Wow. And Leno and John Candy. So I put a book together of all the interviews, and all the money goes to charity, to 826.
The Pauly Shore charity?
Yes, all money goes to you. For the therapy for all the girls you hurt after you had sex with and you left. So it's going to go to care for them.
That's a big charity.
That's a great charity, actually.
Yeah, so let's name a lot of your films just to connect the tissue.
Okay. Yes.
The tissue. So Superbad, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Freaks and
Keep
Geeks.
on going.
I personally love Superbad. That was my...
Yes, that's Seth and Evan started writing Superbad when they were 13 years old, and so it was always floating around as this thing they wanted to do. And when you know, we were doing Freaks and Geeks, I wonder if we could ever get Superbad made. But at the time, there had never been a movie where high school kids talked like that.
Changed your name to McLovin?
Yeah, it was between that and Muhammad.
Why the fuck would it be between that or Muhammad? Why don't you pick a common name like a normal person?
And so it was really hard to get made, and because we couldn't get it made, those guys would keep rewriting it and punching it up and doing table reads and fixing it because no one wanted to make it. And so as a result, it was really well thought through by the time they made it. It really, I feel, is, you know, for a generation, like their movie, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High was our movie in '85.
And then what about this Pee Wee thing? You really got Paul Reubens, and tell us about that.
Well, I always heard that, you know, he wanted to do another movie, and it never seemed to happen, and he was always one of my favorite people. I think there's almost nothing funnier than him doing Pee Wee Herman. It's one of those things that makes you deliriously happy. And not many people do characters. And it's riotously funny. You just wish you had 10 more of them. Like, you've been around comedians more than anybody, and you like being around comedians. What's your compassion for comedians about?
I think of my mom a lot. You know, when I look at comics, I think about how she felt, you know, their pain and their artistic integrity, and that's what I love about the store, is that there's no judging there. You know?
What did your mom think of the comics? Because I didn't know your mom. Because people feared her because she held the keys to being able to get stage time and to people's careers, so she becomes like a mythic character.
She was definitely didn't give a fuck as far as what people thought, because I think her purpose was about the comics, and her purpose was about developing. I think like even Gary Shandling, when I had him on, we were talking about it took Shandling like 20 times to get passed by my mom. Even for me, when I first started out, I didn't get any spots at the store. I worked at the Laugh
Factory.
Yeah, the Laugh Factory. And I'm like, Mom, I'm signed with CAA and I'm on MTV. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. You're not ready. For me, it's all about my mom and what she created in the comics, having a place to develop and to bring the world laughter. And that was always my kind of focus. You're sitting here in a big house, you have a beautiful wife, you have awesome kids. So do you ever think about where you're at in your career and pinch yourself and be like, fuck, I did pretty good? Or are you still like neurotic and like, I still need more? Or is it, because I know...
I've had to have a lot of therapy to tune in, to tune in. I had a therapist recently who just said, just randomly during the day, just list 5 things that you're grateful for. And it could be anything. He's like, it programs your brain to be in that space. Well, it's that fine line of I want to think about that everything's going well, but for me, I always have the panic that when things are going well, that's actually when I get most nervous and in a weird way can spin me into unhappiness and depression if I'm in a total isn't this glorious state. I got to be in forward motion and working on something. So I do feel like, you know, a lot of the things I wanted to do, I've been able to do. I always just wanted to make a good movie or make a good TV show or be a decent stand-up. But you always think, I hope I don't fuck up the next one.
Yeah, Obama, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do, and I feel like we do. And we all love it, and we all see it.
What do you think about Hillary Clinton?
What I think?
No, Obama. What the fuck, dude? I set you up. You got fucking Judd Apatow, dude. I'm trying to audition you right now.
I want him to have a dinner here, 30,000 a plate, perhaps. I think Hillary, she should get. You know, she brought me in, and since I'm gone, I endorse her.